Kamala Harris was never the border czar. She was never asked to address the situation at the border.
Camilla, Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
She did not have the title of border czar.
She was not a border czar.
The vice president was never put in charge of the border.
Kamala Harris never had a role called border czar. Even more so, she was never tasked with fixing issues at the U.S.-Mexico border.
I said when we became a team and got elected that the vice president was going to be the last person in the room. But I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're gonna. You could need help in stemming the movement of so many folks stemming the migration to our southern border.
That was the President of the United States, Joe Biden, back in 2021, assigning the Vice President Kamala Harris with the protection of our borders.
There's one other topic I wanted to talk to you about, but let me just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
What you mean? You had one job and you couldn't even do that right. And yet somehow you think you can run the whole country.
The U.S. is facing a humanitarian crisis over where to place migrants who are seeking asylum in this country.
Since then, more than 205,000 migrants have arrived in New York City alone, which is about half of the population of the entire Staten Island borough, with a total of $1.45 billion spent to help the asylum seeker crisis, as they call it. I'm not really trying to pocket watch nobody, but New York, y'all gonna have to make sense of this, cause what's going on? Take a look at a receipt that was left at a New York City bodega by one of the migrants. Alright, so if you take a look at the receipt, you see this person used an EBT food stamps card. And right at the top where it says EBT food stamps balance, you see that there's a balance of $13,401 with 82 cents. God damn it! Right below it says EBT cash balance of $4,498 with 85 cents.
This is bullshit.
And that to me is crazy. The fact that they're giving these people that much money. I mean, I know people in the city that are struggling and don't even get half of that. Since the arrival of the migrants in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams has launched several projects, including Project Open Arms and the Asylum Application Help Center, which, if we're keeping it a buck, they're basically services to help the asylum seekers skip the line.
The Navigation Center will allow newly arrived asylum seekers to access the services and support they need, including legal services, school enrollment, and health care. Foundational items to help families move forward.
But playback, why should I give a fuck? That's a great question. Where do you think the money's coming from? You guessed it, your own damn pocket. You see, Kamala did exactly what she was told to do so, which is let all these people in so we can feed them, house them, give them health care, and in the end, secure those votes.
We know our immigration system is broken, and we know what it takes to fix it.
Oh, is that so? So what was y'all at the past 4 years?
Comprehensive reform that includes strong border security and an earned pathway to citizenship.
I'm not gonna lie, it sounds good, but I wonder who else has similar ideas.
We're going to have strong, incredible borders, and people are going to come into our country, but they're going to come into our country legally. They're going to come in legally. We're going to build a wall.
And it is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America, including to raise the minimum wage.
Yo, are they giving her the Obama special?
And eliminate eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
We're going to have no tax on seniors, Social Security, and we're going to have no tax on tips. Very simple.
Somebody down in the comment section, please let me know what are some of her policies. If you take a look at her website, there's absolutely nothing there but an ad asking for donations.
You're not going to get a disagreement there.
But the point is, Dana, you've got me for 15 minutes or however long you have me. We should be talking about public policies that matter. How are we going to lower inflation? How are we going to reduce the cost of food and housing? How are we going to close down that southern border? We've talked so little about that. We've talked a lot more about a sarcastic remark I made 3 years ago. I think we should talk about the issues that most Americans care about. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she supported policies that opened the American southern border. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she lied to the American people about Joe Biden's middle facility for the office.
The future Vice President, J.D. Vance, went to the ops and put up a masterclass on how to not duck any smoke. He went to fake news CNN to answer some tough questions. And he, along with other media members, are starting to wonder, how come Kamala hasn't been outside?
You are interviewing me, Dana, because I respect the American people enough to sit down for an interview.
I appreciate that.
Kamala Harris has been the nominee for 3 weeks. She hasn't sat down for a real interview.
Believe me, we are asking.
Now, Joe Biden stepped aside as the presumptive Democratic nominee on July 21st. Since Joe Biden stepped aside, the only damn place we've seen Kamala Harris is at a pep rally. What's up? Somebody got to say something.
Man, she ain't ready for that smoke. Her last rally, she made everybody wait more than 2 hours, only to speak for like 20 minutes, using the same starter pack promises that they all use. Honestly, that's a problem. It doesn't really take much for them to get the vote. And if you ask me, all I've seen so far is gaslighting, plagiarism, and twerking. Anybody that says that they're voting for Kamala haven't been able to point out one good reason why. Instead, they start getting mad emotional and start talking about the shit that they don't like about Trump.
That's history. This is what Dr. King died for. This is what Medgar Evers died for. This is what Rosa Parks went to jail for. All of the sacrifices that black people had to make. Your grandmother's cleaning up white people's house and cleaning and scrubbing floors and doing all of this stuff.
Yo, is bro really crashing out because people have a difference of opinion?
All these black people made all these sacrifices for us. Well, we can have this opportunity, and then you get a woman, now you want to question her race.
Man, I don't give a fuck about the color of her skin or what's between her legs. All I'm saying is we have 4 years of Kamala Harris as vice president, and the one thing she was tasked with, she didn't even do. In fact, now they're trying to gaslight you into thinking that she was never assigned the border.
And question her ability and all this stuff. Why? Why are we doing this? Why are we like this?
Because she's always been Indian. Now all of a sudden she's black.
I remember another interview I saw with Kamala Harris, Art, and she said, somebody asked her, what are y'all going to do for black people? And she said, we can't pass laws just for black people. She said this.
The reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
We can't do things just for black. Well, Kamala Harris, can I ask you a question, Madam Vice President? If the Democratic Party can't do anything just for black people, why did y'all pass a law only for Asians? Why did y'all pass a law only for Native Americans? Why did y'all pass a law only for transgenders? Why did y'all pass a law only for LGBTQs? Why did y'all pass a law only for immigrants? If you can't do anything just for black people, this is what she said. It came out of her mouth. If you can't do anything just for black people, how was it possible for you and President Biden to do all these other things for specific ethnic groups in this country? Kamala Harris is not for black people.
A lot of people know me for being framed for murder by the San Francisco Police Department and the District Attorney Office led by Kamala Harris.
For those of you still doubting some of the fucked up shit that Kamala has done, check out that full story. The link is down below. Final thoughts, you should really do your own research. The days of voting for somebody just because should be behind us. Listen, vote for whoever you want to vote for, but at least know who you voting for. That's a bar.
Got niggas hating on me, I ain't even reached my peak. Been so fucking quiet, niggas probably